Good morning to you. Welcome. Another day, another thought. I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying doing these. It's not that I like hearing the sound of my own voice, but it's just wonderful to think on different things to share with you. And I was having a thought the other day of saying to you all, wouldn't it be lovely if you had a notebook and you just wrote down in your notebook those passages of scripture that have really spoken to you in your life, and how many they are, and where are they? Because we always need tools to help us remember things. And I've jumped in this today into the prophet Micah, which you will find in the last section of 12 books at the end of the Old Testament, after Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Daniel. There's Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah. And there are some lovely verses in Micah. You remember I was saying the other day that there are verses scattered around the Old Testament which prophesy aspects of the life of Jesus. And it's Micah who identifies Bethlehem as the place where Jesus will be born. And that's in Micah chapter 5, if you want to read it. And then in chapter 6, God argues with the people. He contends with them. He says to his people, what did I do that wearied you? What was it? Why is it that you keep turning away from me? Why is it that you don't follow me? Why is it that you think that just by sacrificing loads and loads of animals that gains my favour? And he even says what they were doing. Micah lived in a generation where the people were worshipping other gods, and to get the favour of these other gods, they did what the people around them did, and that was offer their own children, usually the firstborn child, as a sacrifice, a human sacrifice, to gain favour from these foreign gods, these gods of other nations. God has never required that of us. And he says in verse 8, Micah 6 verse 8, one of my all-time favourite verses from the prophets. He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Have a think about that today. You know, did you grow up in a church or in a generation where it was thought that being a Christian was all about obeying rules and regulations? Or do you belong to a church that says, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do the other? There are churches like that lay down rules that aren't even in the Bible, rules about what you must do or mustn't do. The fact is, there are lots of guidelines, there are lots of pieces of advice in the scriptures about what is the best way to do a thing and how we should live our lives. They are guidelines, they are principles to which we should try to adhere because they're good for us. You know, they are the laws. If you read the law of the Old Testament, it's all about the best way to run a society, and a society that ran on those lines would be a very healthy society. And unfortunately for many Jews of Jesus' day and even of today, those rules are binding rules. They are enforced. They are very strictly held to. But I think when you have a faith that has become rules and regulations, you've lost what God is seeking for more than anything else, and that is a relationship of like minds. You know, we often say when we meet the person we share our lives with, we call them our soulmate. And I think that's a great description. It's because the person that we choose to spend our time with is someone who shares our view on life, who understands the way we think and the way we do things. And God says this to us here. What does the Lord require of you? Do justice, love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. That's the heart of God towards us. That's what he wants. He wants a relationship. He wants more, actually, from us than he had from Adam and Eve. With Adam and Eve, he walked with them in the cool of the evening. With us, he lives in us and walks with us every moment of every day. He wants a relationship, a give and take relationship with someone whose heart is set on living justly, not cheating anyone, not lying about anyone, not being self-centered. Justice, honesty, uprightness, and to love kindness. And the supreme kind of kindness is being kind to those who don't deserve kindness. To give kindness, to be generous in our thinking and our living with people who simply, they're just not on the same wavelength as us. And God, and that would make us more like God, because he is the ultimate kindness. He is kind to everyone, whether they deserve it or not. He is kind to them. And he wants to walk humbly, to walk humbly with him, to walk simply grateful, hugely grateful for the fact that he chooses to walk with us. And that is this is all about relationship. It's all about building that relationship. Have a look at Micah, if you haven't looked for a long time at Micah, particularly chapters 5 and 6. But it's not a long book. It's only 7 chapters. It would be read in a sitting. It's a beautiful book, and it's a prophetic book. But this chapter 6 verse 8 expresses the heart of God towards us. You can't get better than that. And God has made it possible for us to walk with him, because he has taken away all the barriers that stood between us and him in what he did in Jesus, whom he sent to be born in Bethlehem, just as Micah prophesied. It's a great thought. Have a great day walking with the Lord, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.